Thank you. Our next comment comes from Steve Latendre. Steve, your line is open. You will have 3 minutes.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Again, my name is Steve Latender. I am the Policy Director at Freedom Forever. We are headquartered in Temecula. Freedom Forever has been installing solar and solar plus storage systems since founder Greg Albright started the company back in 2012. We are a national solar and solar plus storage installation company and significant operations employing hundreds of people in California, and we've installed close to 10,000 residential systems throughout the state. So on behalf of my company, I would like to respectfully register our strong objection to restricting BESS storage system installations for C46 contractors. As a company, we see significant challenge in recruiting certified electricians to do this type of work, and we would anticipate significant cost increases in our storage and solar product offerings. So this will put resilient energy systems out of reach for most Californians if we pursue what's currently on the table this morning. At Freedom, we are committed to the highest safety standards, providing the training for our staff to install solar and solar plus storage systems safely and efficiently. Freedom Forever's National Electrical Director, Matthew Markham, has installed over 1,000 home energy storage systems over his career and provides our field technicians with the necessary training and support. We have safely installed hundreds of solar plus storage systems in California. Our team reviewed the report produced by the UC Berkeley Labor Center and find that there is no concrete evidence to support the report's recommendations. In our view, this is a classic example of solving a problem that does not exist. It is unfortunate, but we see this report as yet another attempt by entrenched interest to restrict our company from doing our part to support California's transition to a clean energy economy, which we have been doing for close to a decade. The UC Berkeley Labor Center is hardly a neutral party and does not provide objective perspective on these issues, nor does it ground its analysis in on-the-ground experience of running a solar and solar plus storage contracting company. The Labor Center's recommendation would stop well-qualified and hardworking men and women who have built the state's solar industry, leading to billions of dollars in investment, from doing their rightful work while meeting the highest safety standards. The CSLB accepts the Labor Center's recommendation. It is our judgment that the distributed solar and solar plus storage industry would be irreparably harmed. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope that you make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment comes from Bernadette Del Cairo. Bernadette, your line is open. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Bernadette Del Cairo, Executive Director of the California Solar and Storage Association. We're California's largest clean energy trade group, representing over 650 businesses who have installed over 1 million projects, making California a world clean energy leader. The motion on the table today will have hugely negative impacts on California's solar and storage industry, and we are concerned that given the strong public demand for solar and storage, your actions today could knock out our most experienced and tested contractors and cause less experienced ones to enter the market, leading to unintended public safety risk. CalSA strongly disagrees with the analysis and recommendations of the UC Berkeley Labor Center. Upon initial review, we find the report to be inaccurate, misleading, and biased. The Labor Center offers no evidence to support its unsubstantiated assertion that regulatory action against California's existing solar and storage contractors is needed to protect public health and safety. Indeed, the report admits what we have been saying for years. There is zero evidence that contractors holding a C46 license have created any safety problems, despite the 60,000 storage projects built in just the past few years alone. The report relies on an erroneous and unsupported assumption that solar contractors hire only certified electricians to build their projects. No analysis is presented to support this false assumption, and it's wrong. The report relies on this to support its equally erroneous conclusion that if CSLB changes the law by prohibiting the C46 license from installing solar and storage, there will be minimal fiscal impact and no labor shortages. CALSA raised our concerns on this issue in our conversation with the Labor Center and shared our fiscal analysis, yet they all but ignored these critical facts. A C46 contractor who also holds a C10 license is not required to maintain a crew of electricians to install solar and storage any more than a C20 contractor who also holds a C10 is required to use certified electricians to install an HVAC system. Specialty multi-craft trades hire and train technicians to do their job. This is reflected in the CSLB's testing curriculum. For over 20 years, this agency has been testing C46 contractors on energy storage. The C10 test was only recently modified to include storage. According to the CSLB's own occupational analysis, storage appears over 120 times in the C46 analysis compared to just 15 times in the C10.
1 minute.
The Labor Center has failed to provide CSLB with a complete, objective, or data-driven analysis. Critical data and analysis are omitted to support the Labor Center's well-documented bias. We have listed only a few of the most obvious deficiencies in the report we received just 11 days ago. We have not had opportunity to review with outside experts. Given the magnitude of this recommendation, we request the board to afford us basic due process by providing CALSA 120 days, conduct a thorough review, and provide a detailed written rebuttal before this board takes any action that would change the status quo. In closing, we urge you not to vote vote against the motion on the table. Do not restrict the livelihood of hundreds of experienced solar contractors this summer, just as the state is facing wildfires, blackouts, to say nothing of the governor's priority initiatives to address climate change.
Thank you. And the next commenter is Nikolai Svoboda. I apologize for the last name. Sure, I just butchered it. I need to scroll through my list to find you. A moment. Nikolai, your line is open. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Nikolai Svoboda, and I thank the chair for speaking today. And I am a California State Certified Electrician. I would love to speak for 3 minutes, but I will listen to what the chair had asked. And I'll state that I am in support of Mr. Johnny Simpson's motion, while I save the rest of you guys 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next comment comes from Matthew Walker. Matthew seems to have dropped off the call. I will circle back. Moving on to David Green. David, I'll remind you to lower your hand as well. Your line is open. You will have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
And my name is David Green. I'm in favor of limiting BESS installations to C10 contractors. As a retired senior electrical inspector with the city of San Francisco, I perform plan reviews, inspections of electrical work, including solar PV systems and battery systems. And during my career, I encountered a great variation in the knowledge and skill of contractors and their installers. In future, BESS will be a critical part of our electrical distribution system. Requiring certified, trained, and qualified installers to do the work will enhance public safety, and qualified C46 contractors and their employees should have no problem getting certified if they're truly qualified as they state. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. And again, David, if you could lower your hand. Our next comment comes from Vince Segal. Vince, your line is open. You will have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, this is Vince Siegel of Siegel Utility. Because the CSLB mission includes promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of the public, my comments today center on the significant hazards of BESS. You know, the Berkeley report's pretty clear. The hazards associated with the predominant lithium-ion battery chemistry, such as NMC, include high energy density, a flammable electrolyte, and potential reactive chemical hazards. The technology poses multiple unique threats to workers, the public, and emergency responders. Serious hazards result from thermal runaway events may include reactive chemical hazards, fire, explosion, and additional to thermal runaway, emergency responders potentially face danger, such as deep-seated fires, reignition, and stranded energy. The report also says that no experience or exam is required in California to install a solar PV system or perform any necessary incidental and supplementary work. The C46 contractor should not be performing BESS installs paired with solar of any size. Thanks.
Thank you. And our next commenter is Christina Marquez, who seems to have dropped off the call potentially, and we'll check back and circle back and look for her. We get through our list. Moving on to individuals also dropped off. Okay, I will let our members know that we do have a couple people indicated they would be submitting comments in writing. They couldn't stay on the call. Jordan Sink, it is your turn. I have unmuted your line. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Jordan Sink of Atlas Pelzar Electric. Our company has completed a long list of energy storage, fuel cell, and solar projects. Our number one priority is safety, and we take it very seriously. We invest significantly in education, protective processes, safety equipment, and continual support. Our low injury rating is the result. If not installed and maintained by qualified workers, battery energy storage can be hazardous. C46 contractors should not be permitted to install BESS because, as the UC Berkeley report indicates, no such review of the C46 electrical workforce is possible since there is no comparable skill standard, and therefore we cannot confidently classify these workers as qualified personnel. This decision-making process has been going on for about 4 years. We urge you to vote today and exclude C46 licensees from performing energy storage work when paired with solar. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to circle back to Christina Marquez, who is here. For some reason, my system wasn't finding her. There you are. I've unmuted your microphone. And Christina, if I can also just remind you to lower your hand.
Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate it. Members of the board, my name is Christina Marquez. I work with environmental organizations and with California workers who install and maintain battery systems for energy storage. I want to highlight a key point made by the University of California at Berkeley, one of the best universities in the world. Their report emphasizes that battery energy storage system is a low-frequency, high-risk technology which can cause death and injuries to workers, emergency responders, and occupants. This risk is real, and the report cites many hazardous insights, such as where 4 firefighters had serious injuries due to an explosion at a grid utility battery energy storage system facility in Arizona. I urge you to please take action today and not permit C46 contractors to install battery energy storage systems of any type in any situation. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. And Registrar Folk, did we want to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break, or do you want me to push through?
Break. I say take a break.
Augie, you okay with the break? Stay put.
Take a break.
Shall I stay put? It seems like the consensus is to take a 10-minute break.
And do we have a number of or an estimated number of speakers that remain?
Yes. On my list, now I had to skip a couple because they've dropped off. I will circle back to see if they've logged back in before we're done. But as of right now, I've got about 25.
It's about another hour and a half
20,
I was planning on
35.
giving everybody a half-hour break at noon,
Okay.
so you guys can go get something to eat and do whatever else you got to do. Is there any opposition to that?
No.
No.
Okay, hearing none, let's reconvene at 12:30 and go do whatever you got to do, and we'll reconvene at 12:30. Is that okay with you, Chair?
Yes.
All righty, said and done. See you guys at 12:30.
Okay, this is Tanya. Real quick, if everybody just could stay on and just stay muted and the video off. We don't want to lose the meeting connection.
You got it.
Thank you.
And people who are in queue, that means you too. So if you log off or hang up or whatever, you're going to lose your spot in queue. So don't do that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. See you in half an hour.
Okay, we are back, and next in line is Mark Rodriguez. Mark does not have an audio connection at the moment. I will circle back. He may not be back with us yet. Move on to Stephen Booker. Stephen, I'll remind you to lower your hand. Your line is unmuted and you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Stephen Booker, and I'm a California State Certified electrician in San Mateo. And I'm in support of the motion. I found the following in the UCB report, that while California, there have been no significant incidents with injury or death that we could identify there are appreciable data gaps that preclude the ability to conclude that risks are low. There have been serious incidents in other regions, particularly in grid scale BESS, but we found no evidence that the risk of BESS technologies is minimal in residential or commercial applications. We classify the BESS technologies in the category of high consequence, low risk, low frequency risk, which requires a contractor and workforce with broad knowledge of electrical system and electrical safety. 46 representatives regularly say that there is no evidence of safety problems with their work. There is no basis for their claim. I heard other individuals mention that.
The fuck? Must have hit it with my chin or something. That'll be good.
Hey, Nut, watch the F word. Okay, go to the next person, Shelley.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hold on. Shelley, is your headset working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's try it again. Shelley, is your headset working? Maybe not. Tanya, can you text Shelley to see if she's still with us?
I just texted her to let her know that we can't hear her.
Okay.
Tanya, it's Dave. How would you feel about serving as a moderator to find out what's happening?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Who's speaking right now? Who said hello?
This is Don Giarcano. I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Oh, we got you. All right. Go ahead and put yourself on
Thank
mute,
you.
brother. Thanks. Hey, Geritano,
Yes,
put yourself on mute because we can hear everything you're saying.
got it.
Okay. Moderator, I see your box is lighting up, but I don't hear you. Tanya, do you have the capability of taking over for the moderator?
I will attempt to do so.
Okay. Just take them in straight order that they appear on your thing there until we get Shelley back.
Yes. So I'm just trying to find where we left off.
Looks like David Haskell would be next.
Okay. I'm scrolling. If you just give me 1 second.
Okay. I'm going to go on mute and give you guys a break.
Dave, I'm not seeing that name in my function at all.
Well, how about if I do it? Lynn Tran, then I'll just use the names, okay?
Okay.
Lynn Tran, are you available?
Do you have the capability of taking them off mute?
No, that's the problem. I do not. We may have to take another break. I can't take them off mute.
Hello, Dave. This is Jason.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Shelly has the host role. She is the only one to unmute right now, so we do need to get a hold of her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I do not know what is going on with my computer. My sincerest apologies.
All right,
Keeps
Shelley.
keeps trying to switch the connection on me, and I'm not touching it to switch it. So my apologies.
No worries. Let's go ahead and try it again, see what we can get.
Yes, apparently I cut off Stephen Booker thinking he stopped talking, but it's actually my speaker that quit working. So Stephen Booker, you are unmuted again.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, as I was talking, someone else came on, and that wasn't me using the F word, just so you guys are aware. What I was saying was C46 representative regularly say that there was no evidence of safety problems with their work. There was no basis for their claim. Like I said, I've been doing this. I'm getting stepped on again. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 23 years. A previous commenter said that they don't think electricians understand DC theory. We've done large-scale DC theory applications and uninterrupted power sources for hospitals and for data centers since I've been an electrician. So that point is absolutely moot. And I just want to state for the record that I'm in favor of the motion in option 2, and I appreciate your time and letting me get back on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm going to circle back to Mark Rodriguez because I believe maybe I was just not able to hear him. Mark, your line is unmuted.
Good afternoon, Registrar folks and members of the committee. My name is Mark Rodriguez, and I am adamantly opposing any further restrictions to the C46 license class in regards to the installation of energy storage systems when paired with solar photovoltaic. I joined Sunrun, country's leading residential solar and battery storage provider 7 years ago, after proudly serving in the Marine Corps for 9 years. I currently serve as the Senior Jurisdiction Specialist for Sunrun and possess extensive knowledge on the safe implementation of solar and storage through my work with international code bodies, standards regulators, industry organizations, and manufacturers across the country. I currently hold the only seat provided to the solar and storage industry on the International Code Council's International Energy Conservation Code Residential Development Committee. Since 2018, I have followed the licensing conversation in parallel with my code development work, and I can confidently say that the national safety community has outpaced the conversation we were having in California. Rules around ratings, spacings, and listings established in the 2021 International Fire Code are clear and concise. Installation requirements such as fire detection and fire-resistant construction ensure that occupants are warned in the event of an issue and are afforded time to safely exit. Extensive work was done in the wake of an unrelated utility-scale battery fire. Provide common sense rules to better safeguard installations and drastically improve the product standards. We are operating under a more skilled, practiced, and informed residential storage market than we were when CSLB began to explore the merits of C46 skills in 2018. C46s are some of the most skilled storage installers available in California because the solar industry has been leading on deployment thanks to SCHIP, heightened resiliency concerns among citizens living under threat of wildfire and forced public safety outages. Our grid and society is better off because of this collaboration, and the state should honor the work that has been done by C46s by making sure they fit into whatever decisions are made in this forum. At the moment, these people and their work is being cast aside. California has now adopted R328 of the 2022 California Residential Code and Article 120611 of the 2022 California Fire Code that better govern the installation of ESS. The California State Fire Marshal has approved these measures as satisfying the need for practical safeguarding when installing ESS. The progress must be part of this conversation. Since May 14, 2019, under the direction of California State Licensing Board, contractors have continued to hone their trade by installing thousands of paired energy storage systems across the state without significant incidents. Under a C46 license class, these qualified persons have recorded tens of thousands of hours in the safe installation of storage batteries, yet none of these hours will count towards the certification. A change of this nature to the C46 license class puts many of these hardworking Californians out of work. For these reasons, we encourage the committee to explore other options or provisions to ensure that our workforce continues to be employed in their chosen
10
careers.
seconds.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mark. And our next comment comes from Barry Cinnamon.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Barry Cinnamon, CEO of Cinnamon Energy Systems. I've been installing solar and energy storage systems since 2001 in California. With all due respect, the Labor Center's report is an ivory tower exercise that does not represent real-world energy storage system installations in California. Trained electricians almost never transition to install residential battery systems. That is why there's a tremendous shortage of electricians. The assumption that C10 electricians are better trained and more qualified than C46 contractors for battery installations is simply incorrect. Importantly, the report mischaracterizes installer requirements from both Tesla and LG ESS, 97% of the residential market. The result of option 2 will be that ESS installations will plummet, safety will suffer because trained and experienced C46 installers are disqualified from installing and maintaining existing systems. Homeowners and businesses will experience more health issues from blackouts, and businesses such as mine will be forced to terminate many of our employees. There are easily 10,000 batteries scheduled for installation between now and the end of the year, many of which are already contracted and permitted to C46 contractors. Eliminating C46 contractors and enforcing C10 rules will result in a blizzard of contract violations and chaos in the marketplace. Consumers will be harmed by this, as will workers and businesses. The motion before you is going to require the vast majority of solar and storage contractors to fire their existing trained workers and hire new, potentially untrained certified electricians within 90 days, all during a pandemic when worker shortages are widespread and well known. There is no way this is anything but catastrophic to the solar and storage industry of California. Nobody is talking about the emergency we are having on California's electric grid. According to the ISO, this morning, there are 12,617 power outages today, right now. Does the CSLB board understand the scope of today's power emergency? And does the board understand the harm that option 2 would cause Californians from a virtual stoppage of small-scale ESS installations by C46 contractors? Or does the board only want to do the bidding of utilities and union employers? Thank you for your time.
Did we lose Shelley again?
My apologies. My mic went out again. Calling user number 24 is what you're identified as in WebEx. I have unmuted your microphone.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
We can. Go ahead.
Perfect. Let me get. So my name is Megan Simler. I am a C46 contractor. We have been in business doing solar and batteries since 2008. We used to do off-grid and grid-tied. This is detrimental to the solar industry. We have reached out to many of our subcontractors in our area, electricians who we'd love to train, certify, help us install these batteries. Not a single electrical contractor wants to take on the responsibility, the time, the training to install these batteries. When I've I've been on this phone call for almost 4 hours now, and when I'm listening to all of the remarks about how there's 1 hour to train to install a battery, we're talking more or less 80 hours to 1 hour. The training, certification, the energy, the processing to get these batteries installed correctly, safely, and perfect is astronomical. And this would be detrimental to C46 contractors across the board. Please do not pass this. We are reliant on this in California. I'm in rural El Dorado County. This is all we do. Please talk to people. This is all we do. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next comment comes from a user identified as call-in user number 10. Call-in user number 10, I've unmuted your microphone. If I can also remind you to lower your hand, and you will have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Courtney Corda. Can you hear me?
We can.
I'm the president of Corda Solar in Contra Costa County. My company has been in business for 14 years. We install solar and BESS. I strongly disagree with option 2. There are no cases of C46 related BESS accidents in the state. It's a non-issue. It's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I'm a Berkeley grad, and I admire the effort here of the UC Berkeley team, but they were really asked to study the wrong thing. The real problem we're facing here is a shortage of workers. We're all looking for similar workers who are not out there. Demand for solar systems with batteries has skyrocketed. My company offers continuing education, above market wages, and health insurance, but even so, I can't find qualified candidates to apply for our job openings. Week after week, I advertise and I see dozens of similar ads for electricians, electrical trainees, and solar and BESS installers. The idea that just because a contractor has a C10 or a B license means that their workers are better trained to install batteries than the workers of a C46 contractor, it's wrong, it's naive. The workers who are best understand how to install battery energy systems are the ones who work for contractors who specialize in solar and battery installations regardless of their license type. Don't change the licensing classifications and the rules for contractors. Instead, we ought to be urging the Department of Industrial Relations to update worker training and to boost outreach and recruiting. We're all in a race against time to bring more electricity production and storage to our state. The current curriculum for certified electricians is too broad and it takes too long to finish. There should be shorter, more tailored programs for certified BESS and solar installers. A larger and more narrowly trained workforce will help us continue our state's great track record on safe BESS installations. The way to meet the demand for the safe installation of solar and battery systems is through helping all licensees, whether C46, C10, A, or B, to find workers with relevant training or help us train existing workers. Don't hobble and discredit the one license type that is actually the most closely associated with the work in question. I urge the CSLB to reject option 2. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could remind you you lowered your hand. Thank you so much. Our next,
Augie, how many callers or how many people do we have left?
the next one that I will call on is number 45 out of 78. And that is providing everybody on the list is still connected. Some people have dropped off, so.
Okay, thank you.
So now we're going to call in user number 21, who is not on the call. So 19 is also not on the call. Don't think. Let me double check here. For some reason, some of the numbers are appearing out of order, which is odd. Okay. No 21, no 19. Okay. Ulf Waldman is our next commenter. Ulf, your line is unmuted. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm a C46. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a C46 contractor out of San Diego. I've been licensed since 2011 and was with a different, also C46 company before. So I've been involved in solar for many, many years. We have 14 employees, and we install quite a few battery systems. It's increasing. And I'd like to, there was one comment from the Berkeley team where they said that LG certifies installers. Yes, they do. We have to follow protocol. We're trained by the manufacturers of battery systems. In our case, it's mostly LG Chem and Enphase. We are also designing them. We're doing line diagrams. We have electrical engineering people, and we follow OSHA safety practices. We're scrutinized by the building departments. Every job we do gets inspected, and the wiring is of concern there, of course. I just don't see the safety issue in any way, or that it's helped in any way to use C10 contractors that are not readily available. Thank you.
Thank you. The next comment comes from calling user number 22. Let me see if they are still connected. Do not see them. And then we have next is Charles and Diane Mathis. Do not see them. Calling user 18. Calling user number 18, you are up. I've unmuted your microphone. You'll have 3 minutes, and in fact, I remind you to lower your hand as well. Can you hear us? I'm talking to call-in user number 18. Okay, we will circle back. Moving on to Mark Baldessari. It is your turn. Mark, your line is unmuted. I will remind you to also lower your hand, and you will have 3 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
We can.
All right, great. Thanks to the CSLB board who has given me the opportunity to participate in this discussion. My name is Mark Baldessari. I'm the Director of Codes and Standards, working at Enphase Energy, who is a major supplier of equipment for the solar and energy storage industry. I am an active member developing safety and installation codes and standards, both internationally and domestically. I participate in the development of the National Electrical Code and PA 855, International Code Council, UL, CSA, and International Safety Standards for Solar Energy Storage. And I am a member of the Codes and Standards Committee for CALSA, founding member of SEAC, and a member of the UL 9540 and 9540A Standards Technical Panel for Energy Storage Systems. I'm here today representing the thousands of small businesses who have safely installed Enphase solar and battery energy storage systems along with other competing products. Enphase has shipped over 150 megawatt hours of storage system and has been safely installed in thousands of homes across the US and internationally. With all these products shipped, our BSS equipment has never experienced a single catastrophic failure. The Berkeley report is in my view, is biased, inaccurate, and incomplete. It was issued on June 12th, only 45 days ago, much less than the 120 days generally given to public response. And I'm sure this is in violation of CSLB procedures. At a minimum, delay a vote on a motion today and allow a proper time period for public comment. Several fire incidents were cited in the report. The installations were not residential but commercial in nature. Most certainly, the equipment was installed and wired by licensed electricians with C10 type qualifications. So just having a C10 doesn't guarantee that the installation is always going to be safe. Safety and installation standards were cited during the comments phase, and as changing rapidly. This is a good thing. Codes and standards have to evolve to make improvements and increase safety. There's no guarantee that a C10 can keep up with code changes better than a C46. Future training and education are important in all license classes. Let's see, running out of time. I feel that C10 licensed electricians offer expertise and experience that is valuable to the industry. And for large commercial systems greater than 1 megawatt hour, then perhaps a C10 electrician should be required for these installations. I urge the board to reject option 2 and instead embrace option 4 from the report, which says, make no change to existing C46 classifications. Assert that current law allows the C46 to install BESS. Thanks for the opportunity to address the board. Please let me know if I can be of further service. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And if I can just remind you to also lower your hand. Our next comment comes from Duncan Clemenshaw. Duncan, your line is open. You will have 3 minutes.
Thanks. Good afternoon to the board, and thank you for making time for me to speak. My name is Duncan Clemenshaw, and I'm with GAF Energy. We're a San Jose-based manufacturer of renewable energy products with 130 employees. I'm the Senior Manager for Regulatory Compliance and a member of the National Fire Protection Association, the International Association of Electrical Inspectors, the Sustainable Energy Action Committee, and the International Code Council. This really smart guy once said to me, a podiatrist and a heart surgeon are both MDs, but you don't get the foot doctor to do your quadruple bypass. He went on to say, the way to get confident is to get competent, and the way to get competent is to focus on something and do it a lot. The reason C46s get good at solar and energy storage is they do it a lot. They have a narrow focus. You won't find them doing bathroom remodels. You won't find them in a cherry picker working on that transformer in front of your house. They're either on your roof putting down another installation of SunPower solar panels, or they're in your garage hanging another Tesla Powerwall, because that's all they do. Every day, every week, every month. The plea we hear from our customers, our California installers, is, hey, we're growing. Can you help us find more good people who can do this work? And as my dad would say, that is a nice problem to have. But now think of all the talented people in your own organizations, the women and the men who get the work done now. And will you afford to lose any one of them? Like any industry, we are hungry for the people who can do the work. This is a workforce development problem that California has not solved, and which will only be made worse by stopping capable C46 installers from doing what they've already proven they can do safely. The presentation had a bullet that said, if BESS grows, the apprenticeship programs will grow accordingly. Dr. Zabin, go Bears, but this is a complete disconnect from our reality on the ground now. The demand exists now. The need exists now, not 8,000 hours from now. Ironically, the report from the Labor Center will have the effect of putting fellow Californians, talented women and men, who've already proven they can successfully and safely install energy storage, out of jobs when we already know we don't have enough workers to keep up with the demand. We urge you to stand with California workers and homeowners and to please vote against the motion on the table. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next comment comes from Andrew Tanner. Andrew, your line is open. I will remind you to also lower your hand, and you will have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Tanner, and I'm VP of Strategy and Growth at Yotta Energy. Yotta strongly supports the development of codes and standards that ensure the safety of energy storage systems. However, we reject the proposal to limit C46 contractors from installing energy storage. Yotta manufactures an energy storage technology that is a modular 1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Our battery installs beneath solar modules in between the solar module and the inverter. A 20 kilowatt-hour energy storage system using Yotta's technology therefore consists of 20 individual batteries beneath 20 solar modules. Our technology is inherently embedded within the solar system. Our core innovation is shifting the complexity and safety challenges of deploying energy storage into our technology. It is designed simply and easily in series. It is deployed simply and easily in series with the solar installation, not separately. Each ESS unit has 2 pairs of MC4 connectors, one pair that connects to the solar module and the other to an inverter. The proposed restriction to C46 contractors would imply that they are qualified to connect MC4 connectors between solar modules, but unqualified to connect MC4 connectors to Yotta's batteries. Further, it would be completely impractical for a C46 contractor to do the solar installation and a C10 contractor to connect the solar modules to our batteries. Our technology highlights a failure to appropriately engage with industry before proposing the limiting of a C46 contractor's ability to install energy storage systems. Yotta Energy supports Mary Teckart's proposition to solicit further feedback from industry and is aligned with the comments of solar industry veterans Gary Gerber, Jeff Spice, and Kousa's Bernadette Del Chiaro in their positions that this proposal is overreach. Thank you.
Shelley, I think we lost you again, if you can hear me.
Again, my apologies. David Haskell, this is the moderator. I've unmuted your line.
Thank you very much. My name's David Haskell. I'm a partner, senior partner of Symmetric Energy, a C46 company. I have 4 specific comments to make. Number 1, I support option 4. Number 2, I support Barry Cinnamon's comments and all of those within the industry with regards to worker availability and the urgency of now that we are in a major crisis of not only of electrical, but my third point is that we must make all of our decisions with the lens of climate change. We have an urgent and absolutely essential need for workers in the field of renewable clean energy across the board. To minimize access to that work now is counter to everything we know about trying to combat climate change. My last comment, it relates to health and safety. The Berkeley study looked backwards as to what happened. This rear view mentality into the past is not going to guide us into the future. And everybody in the industry knows that the nickel magnesium cobalt battery, which has dominated the industry, is not going to be the future. Symmetric Energy has made a policy statement that we were going to install lithium ferrous phosphate batteries. These batteries are inert when it comes to thermal. They do not pose the same danger as the NMCs. They are, as I said, they're thermally stable. Companies like Enphase, Discover, Simplify, all of these major battery companies are coming out with LFP batteries. And LFP is more appropriate for stationary. The NMC was developed basically for the automobile because it was light and it held a great deal of power. The future is not going to be the more dangerous, inherently unstable NMC. And so you're looking backwards to make a rule for yesterday. You need to look forward. You need to take a forward action, taking into effect climate change, and by all means, support option 4. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And David, if I could just ask you to please lower your hand. Our next comment comes from John Cromer. John, your line is open. You will have 3 minutes.
Hello, I am John Cromer, the Application Engineering Manager for Fortress Power, a lithium iron phosphate battery manufacturer. We recommend option 4. To suggest solar and batteries are independent systems is akin to banning squares from being rectangles because rectangles are not always squares. Solar without batteries is only possible if using the grid as a battery, which utilities remind us is a threat to public safety. Therefore, it is in the interest of public safety to group solar and batteries together. NFP 855, UL 9540, and UL 9540A are being rapidly and aggressively adopted across California. This is good, but nothing in that suggests C46 contractors deserve to have limited scope. In fact, the presenters today have blamed a lack of battery safety information on C46 installers performing installs, but the report itself says most battery installers in California hold C10 licenses, so this lack of battery safety reporting has nothing to do with C46 installers. But the study itself is flawed. The fires in the study do not lack data. The causes of the fires are underexplored in the study, but available via internet research. Many of the fires and recalls were from high voltage DC-DC system architecture and not the battery itself. Contrary to what was presented earlier, NEC does differentiate between batteries operating under 60 volts and those which operate at higher voltages. But the report is not recommending the removal of high voltage batteries from the residential market, even though low voltage batteries have reduced arc flash danger, a major safety concern mentioned in the report. Instead, it dodges the issue by recommending C46 contractors be removed from this market. The report mentions thermal runaway as another leading cause of battery fire, but fails to mention lithium cobalt is more likely to thermal runaway than lithium iron phosphate. The report is not recommending the removal of lithium cobalt from the market, but it does recommend stripping C46 contractors from their ability to install a fundamental part of their trade. The report proposes non sequitur options based on underexplored case studies. Let's make sure C10 bias against C46 contractors does not distract us from the real safety issues at hand, which include access to solar batteries. California has decided to have C46 solar installers, so it is natural for those solar installers to install batteries. Options 1 through 3 are bad policy, which rely on scarecrow arguments to disenfranchise C46 contractors. Those options will leave system owners in the dark because C46 contractors will not be allowed to service these systems.
10
Further
seconds.
study is needed before such a recommendation should ever be proposed. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. And our next comment comes from Richard Markison. Richard, your line is open. I will remind you to lower your hand, please, and you will have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Richard Markson for the Western Electrical Contractors Association. I'm sure I don't need to remind the board that the solution that is in front of you today, and that is, I guess it's the option B, to disenfranchise the C46, does not cure one of the major issues raised in the Berkeley report, and that is the lack of requirement to use certified electricians. And I know it's beyond the scope of the action that you're taking today, but I would remind you that even if you take this action today, A and B contractors are still going to be permitted to install BESS using uncertified electricians because of a flaw in the initial electrician certification legislation that only applied it to C10 electrical contractors. WECA would support legislation to correct this flaw, but the action before you today is only addressing a part of what is facing the electrical and the solar industry, and that is a scarcity of qualified electricians to perform this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our next comment comes from Ingrid Murillo. Ingrid, your line is open. You have 3 minutes.
Will be doing something, and then
Ingrid?
she'll just pause. She'll just stop.
Ingrid Murillo?
This?
Send words to CSLB.
All right, we will circle back. Moving on to calling user number 32. not on the call. Call-in user number 9. It's not on the call. Call-in user number 33 is on the call. Call-in user number 33. I've unmuted your line. I would like to remind you to please lower your hand and you will have 3 minutes. Call-in user number 33, can you hear us? All right, moving on. Circle back. Call-in user number 16. Can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. You have 3 minutes. And if I could just remind you to lower your hand when you're finished.
All right, will do. Thank you very much. My name is Christopher Smith, and I represent Paradigm Power and Planning. We're a battery energy storage contractor as well as solar contractor, obviously. And I wanted to first point out that as per the Berkeley report, which said that the vast majority of this work is being done by C10 and C46 contractors, which shows that the remaining contractors that only hold a C46 license are in the minority. I'm having a hard time seeing, where the great divide is on there being a labor shortage, because if the majority of it's already being done by C46 and C10 contractors who collectively hold that license, then the small amount of C46 contractors simply need to just go out and get a C10 license, and requiring them to do so will not have catastrophic effects on the market whatsoever. Because again, the majority of C46 contractors also have a C10 license. So this idea that the sky is falling and, it's going to really hurt the industry, I don't really see that happening, and nor do I understand it. Furthermore, the idea that electricians aren't versed in DC work or don't physically understand solar, I also find to be silly, because the vast majority of the trainings that go into these things, as well as the tests and what have you, also have a huge amount of requirements on understanding solar and battery energy storage. Furthermore, it's my understanding from doing this for nearly a decade, as well as working in the electrical industry before I got into battery energy storage, is that these things can be learned, these things can be taught, these things can be trained, and if you understand the basic underlying principles of electricity, you'll have no problem bridging the gap, as my electricians have done, going from AC work to DC work. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.